This is r/Tales from Retail.
Sold.
The title is, We have a regular who has never once bought anything from our cheese section, and I think about him more than I should.
Okay.
He comes in every Thursday evening around the same time, give or take 20 minutes. I've been at this grocery store long enough that I know the Thursday regulars pretty well. Most of them have a pattern: cart, produce, dairy, checkout. Standard stuff. This guy goes straight to the cheese wall every single time. He'll stand there for anywhere between 10 and 25 minutes just reading labels, picking things up, turning them over, setting them back down very carefully, exactly where they were. He never puts anything in a basket. He doesn't even usually carry a basket. He just reads. For the first few months, I assumed he was about to buy something and just being very thorough. Some people are like that with cheese. It's a whole thing. I respected it. Then I started noticing he always left the section empty handed and went straight to checkout with whatever small things he'd picked up elsewhere: a yogurt, some butter, once just a single lemon. Never cheese. About 4 months ago, he caught me restocking near the section and asked what I thought about one of those aged Goudas we carry. I told him honestly it was one of my favorites, a little pricey, but worth it for a special occasion. He nodded very seriously and asked 2 more questions about the aging process and the flavor profile. Really specific questions, the kind of person asks when they genuinely know what they're talking about. We talked for probably 20 minutes. It was one of the better conversations I've had at work. He bought a small container of hummus and left. He was back last Thursday, stood at the cheese wall for 15 minutes, left with sparkling water. I've stopped trying to understand it. I just hope he's doing okay, and that one day, maybe, he finds what he's looking for.
Bitch.
Erica's note on this one just says, in all caps, random, and then, but so funny.
Okay. My first thought. Cheese whiz.
Because he knows a lot about cheese.
Yeah. Second, I obviously originally thought this was gonna be like romantic.
You
Maybe
really
I was
wanted
wrong.
it to be romantic.
I wanted it to be romantic. I wanted it to be like, he's got a pattern. He comes in every Thursday. He knows she's working on Thursday. Like, but
we don't know if the OP's male, female, or what.
Oh yes, so sorry. The OP is working. In my mind, I did do female and male, but definitely could have gone any other way.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be romantic, but at the same time, her saying the OP, Jesus Christ, the OP saying that everybody has a established like route in the grocery store.
Oh, like pattern? The regulars.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, I have never gone to the grocery store and went to produce, then whatever, then whatever. Like I'm always going and I'm like, okay, here's my list. Should I start from the back?
I do this though. I go to the grocery store and I always go down the same, like kind of the same direction. Okay. And depending, like, so like at Winco, because Winco's set up a specific way too though. So like at Winco we go in and then we go right because that's the way that it like kind of directs you with all the shelves. And then that's where the produce is. So we usually get produce first and then we'll go like kind of around these aisles and then we'll go to the other aisles and then we'll get cold last.
I guess that does make sense because like the Walmart that I have, produce is to the right and then you could snake through and get like the cold stuff.
If you really think about it, whoa, you do kind of go in kind of a similar pattern every time. It just is dependent on what you're actually getting.
Woo!
And we're sober.
We are sober.
Top comment. Older guy? If so, he may just be bored or wanting some human interaction. Or he might be living on a very tight budget. There's a reason I usually leave the cheeses alone in the half-price cooler. And then in parentheses it says, here in Norway, it's common that goods that are close to the sell before date is priced down and put in a separate on a separate shelf or fridge. Reduces food waste. I can afford the good stuff, so I leave them for someone else with a more constrained budget. Unless it's one that I've never tried, of course.
This is him with the cheese. He's like, one day I'm gonna be able to afford you and all your qualities.
Right.
Oh wait.
He's just like, wait, I can't. He appreciates the idea of cheese. One day he may commit and go all in, but for now, he can dream.
I love how
Today, the hummus will sustain him.
the hummus will sustain him. I love how everybody thinks he's a man. We shall see.
The customer is a man. It
Oh,
says
did they say it?
we have a regular who has never once bought anything from our cheese section. I think about him more than something.
Damn it.
He's looking for information on the cheese because he makes them himself. Just a hunch, anyways. I've met these types of people and I always go out of my way to discuss why with them. And generally, I can extract tons of information from them, especially on a boring day. Although my current job doesn't offer much in ways of DIY conversations. Slanty, sad face.
Slanty sad face.
The
Oh,
colon
the little
slash. Yeah, mert face.
Is grocery considered retail? When I
Yeah.
think of retail, I think of clothes.
Retail, well, I don't know. That's a great question. Maybe he lost someone close to him who was a cheese lover. I adore cheese. Visiting the cheese area may be a grief therapy thing. Maybe he had a special cheese somewhere and didn't know what it was. He may be writing a book and cheese is part of the book. Lastly, he is not an English inventor with a dog, is he? Joking, a little Wallace and Gromit for you. That's so sweet though. What if someone that it is like little grief therapy.
Yeah, like somebody who really loved Gouda.
Yeah.
And they're like, the therapist is like, I want you to go to the grocery store on a schedule. And I want you to pick up the cheese. And I want you to feel the cheese.
Maybe it did start as like one of those like coping skills that you learn in therapy. And like he just found it so soothing that he started to implement it every week.
I like this idea. Or new theory. He used to be very, very afraid of cheese. And it's his exposure therapy. Cheese. You know? Like people are deathly afraid of random things. Like